Coming up on Mountain News at 6, we'll have an update on the status of one high school basketball player after being injured in a fireworks-related incident. And we'll hear from one former police chief and a former governor about former President Bill Clinton's trip to eastern Kentucky on this day 25 years ago.
We had a line of thunderstorms push through eastern Kentucky that has since exited. Now the weekend is here. We'll talk about that forecast coming up in a few minutes.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
A nice weekend is on the way. That's after severe storms move through the mountains this afternoon. First Alert meteorologist Eric Dean joins us now with an improving forecast. Eric.
Oh, absolutely, Steve. The good news is we had some much needed rainfall. We're sitting below normal for the entire year. We'll have the official totals coming up tonight at 11. Here's the latest with live pinpoint Doppler radar scanning the skies across eastern Kentucky, and you're noticing that line of thunderstorm activity is off towards the east. We still have the one flash flood warning in effect for portions of Pike County. This goes for about another 14 minutes. Again, 14 more minutes for that flash flood warning in Pike County. We're seeing clouds out there at this time. Temperatures right now in the 70s and 80s. We're at 78 in Prestonsburg, 79 in Hazard, 84 in London, as well as Manchester and Williamsburg. Somerset and Monticello checking in with 84 degrees as well. We'll see temperatures staying in the upper 70s and low 80s as we go throughout the next several hours. When you wake up in the morning, temperatures in the upper 60s and low 70s will greet you. Now, this weekend is upon us, and I'll tell you which day I think will be the pick of the weekend coming up in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
Eric, thank you. Reggie Cottrell, a Harlan County High School student and star basketball player, was taken to the hospital after being involved in a fireworks-related incident. WYMT's Armando Berry is live at UK Hospital in Lexington with the latest on his condition. Armando.
Now that we have received Reggie's statement that was released on the Harlan County High School Facebook page earlier this afternoon, let's break down how we got to this point from Harlan County. Reggie's sister, Lexi, shared periodical updates as everything transpired on her public Facebook profile. Part of her initial post said, quote, "He had an incident with a firework and they had to fly him out to Lexington," end quote. Lexi's most recent update revealed details on the severity of Reggie's injuries, saying, quote, "He's out of surgery and he's doing okay. His middle finger and index was a partial amputation. His pointer finger was amputated and his thumb was broke, so they put a metal wire in his thumb," end quote. Reggie's former teammate Trent Noah was also among the Harlan Countyans who came to the hospital and showed support. Trent also brought 5 UK basketball players with him to show support at the hospital. A sweet gesture, but we just wish Reggie a speedy recovery. Signing out from Lexington, Armando Berry, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, yes, we certainly wish him a speedy recovery, Armando. Thank you, and we'll, of course, keep everyone updated on his recovery. 2 people were injured during the Knott County Sportsplex fireworks display on Thursday. Knott County Judge Executive Jeff Dobson says they are both doing well. One of the people injured was a firefighter with Pipapassus Volunteer Fire Department who is still being observed. The other was a bystander who received a couple stitches in the lip after that incident.
We always, each Independence Day, 4th of July celebration, each year it seems like you always hear of children or adults in this case that have been injured, hurt during fireworks, letting those off. They're very serious.
Dobson says the incident happened about 20 minutes into what was supposed to be at least an hour-long display. 2 parents were put in jail after their child called police saying that her mother was dead. Instead, the mother was alive and suspected drugs were found. WYMT's Amelia Lee spoke with an officer at the Corbin Police Department.
The incident happened last Friday in Corbin. Police arrived at the home after they said they received a call from the young girl. The girl said she could not get her mother to wake up.
And responding officers arrived to the house and started trying to conduct a welfare check. Eventually, her mother responded to the door and opened the door to speak with officers regarding the situation. Initially, the mother just kind of shrugged it off, saying she was just sleepy.
Police executed a search warrant of the home on 17th Street.
Officers located illicit narcotics, including suspected heroin.
They say that there was another child found in the home.
Social workers had decided what's called a plan. They had done a plan with the children and placed them appropriately.
The parents, Danielle Asher and Robert Heron, face multiple charges.
Currently, they're being held on criminal abuse in the second degree. A child is a victim under 12. They are charged with endangering the welfare of a minor and 2 counts of drug possession. Preliminary hearing should determine a little more how this will be adjudicated.
Police say both children were taken to a different place to live at this time. In Corbin, Amelia Lee, WYMT Mountain News.
Officers say they cannot confirm what suspected drugs were found in the home. One person is dead after a shooting in Mingo County, West Virginia. According to our sister station WSAZ, the shooting happened around 5 a.m. this morning in the Lenore area. Officials say the person was taken to the hospital where they were later pronounced dead. We learned the name of the victim just a short time ago. It's 42-year-old Charles Spear of Kermit, who was killed. It was not the fireworks, but a structure fire. That was the topic of conversation in one Pike County community on Independence Day. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more from the former Greasy Creek Community Center.
The structure was a total loss. There was no saving anything in it.
Firefighters responded to a fire at the Greasy Creek Community Center before 5 a.m. Thursday.
Upon arriving, we found that the structure was fully engulfed and the roof had already collapsed in.
Working with the Millard Fire Department to hit the heat for hours as they watched a community staple turn to ash.
Yeah, the community center, it was a major addition to our community. We probably one of the most used community centers in the county. It was booked just about every day, every evening, every weekend for sure. And it's a major loss to the community.
While the fire is still under investigation, officials say arson is suspected.
There is a person of interest that we're talking to, and hopefully we can get it cleared up soon.
Fire Chief Robert Kendrick says the loss of the center will not only impact the Greasy Creek community, but people in surrounding areas who rely on it to host parties, weddings, family reunions, and more.
We're going to have a hard time till we can get it replaced.
But once the smoke clears, Kendrick says conversations are already underway to replace the building that has been an important piece of the community.
I don't want the community to worry so much that we will get it back. We're going to rebuild, and it's going to be as good as or better than we had.
In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Kendrick also says the fire brought up an obvious need for more volunteers in the community fire departments, encouraging folks to reach out and find out how they can help. A mother in Estill County is desperate for help after her son slipped into a psychosis-like state while on vacation. Dawn Estes places the blame squarely on a Delta 8 vape pen. While on vacation, her 18-year-old son, Jacob, who just graduated from high school, suddenly became very confused and stopped making sense. Estes says Jacob dedicated his life to the Lord after giving up vaping with the Delta 8 products. He is under care at a facility in Hazard.
I'm just at a loss for what to do, what steps to take, I'm trying to do everything that I can to fight for him because he's not able to fight for himself.
Dawn is asking for prayers for Jacob. She wants to raise awareness and begs other parents to talk about the dangers of vaping with their children. Governor Andy Beshear is heading to Asia next week. The governor will be making the trip to Japan and South Korea to meet with leaders at existing companies as well as businesses considering future investment in the United States. Since the start of Beshear's administration, 88 projects have been announced by companies based in Asia. The governor's trip comes after meeting with President Joe Biden and other Democratic governors in Washington earlier in the week. 25 years ago today, former President Bill Clinton stopped in eastern Kentucky while on his New Markets Initiative tour. WYMT's Caroline Mueller spoke with people who were around the president that day.
our President, William Jefferson Clinton. Mr. President.
25 years ago today, July 5th, 1999, thousands of people filled the streets of downtown Hazard to hear the president speak.
People as far as you could see to the right, people as far as you could see to the left, and then back up all the other side streets. And it was a huge, huge crowd.
Minor Allen worked for the Hazard Police Department at the time and was tasked with organizing security detail for the president. He says prepping for an event of that caliber was intense.
We had officers in the River Fish and Wildlife was down there on boats. They was on side-by-sides up in the mountains trying to cover every possible aspect. And the Secret Service Uniform Division brought over 100 officers with them too.
It was a hot day, but former Governor Paul Patton says the crowd was filled with excitement.
It was a happy mood. Anytime you have the president in your community, it's a time to celebrate. And he announced a program that offered help for many people in Eastern Kentucky, and who were all for that. So it was a win-win day as far as I'm concerned.
The program was part of a plan to bring more jobs to rural areas by incentivizing businesses to move to those areas.
I think that program has helped Eastern Kentucky. I think it has created jobs.
Also on stage with the president that day was Reverend Jesse Jackson, former voice of the Wildcats, Kaywood Ledford, and several others. In Hazard, Caroline Mueller, WYMT Mountain News.
Before coming to Hazard, the president also stopped in Jackson County. A well-known entrepreneur out of Laurel County died earlier this week. Rex Greer was an active member of the Laurel County community, where he was a deacon at New Salem Baptist Church in London. He also served on the board of the Kentucky Association of Highway Contractors for almost a decade. Greer dedicated more than 25 years to the board of directors at Cumberland Valley Insurance Management. He also served as president of the First National Bank of Manchester.
Cared about the church. He saw the church through some very tough, difficult times, and his leadership guided the church through some of those difficult times as well.
Greer is survived by his wife, 3 children, 6 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. He was 85 years old.
All right, here's a look at live pinpoint Doppler radar right now, showing a clean sweep across eastern Kentucky. The weekend is here, and I'll have that forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
And after Reed Shepherd was introduced by the Houston Rockets earlier this week, we'll hear from his high school coach about the impact his success could have on Laurel County.
Visit link